In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, I bear witness there is no God but God, and God is the only one who has the right to be worshipped. I also bear witness that Prophet Moses, Prophet Jesus, and Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon them, are the messengers of God, and I seek refuge in Allah from the rejected Satan. So greetings of peace, and thanks for tuning in. May the peace and blessings of Allah be with you. So in these videos, we discuss and prepare for the coming of Imam Mahdi, as well as the second coming of Jesus, known as the Mashiachs, Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David in the Jewish tradition. In these videos, in this one in particular, we're going to be focusing on charity. We know from the hadith of our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, that in the time of Imam Mahdi and his rulership, there will be a great abundance of gold, a great abundance of wealth. They'll be using gold and silver in that time, as I say, to prepare to have a bit of gold and silver while it's still cheap. The nation states of the world today suppress gold. You're not allowed to use it as trade to buy and sell with. So we can get gold and silver at a low price now, but probably in the future it'll be a lot more expensive to acquire. We also prepare by living a little bit outside the city until we have the Islamic State up and running. I recommend to live, if you have the means, to live a little bit outside the city. I think it'll be more peaceful out there and more in tune with nature and creation and the unique creator of all that exists. And having fresh and healthy foods, organic foods that if you can grow your own or have access to somebody who does. So we've got hadiths of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, that discuss the charity in that time. And I've got Qur'an verses to help us understand charity on a deeper level. So those will be both either in the description box below, or I'll put it in a comment below. I don't think I'll have enough characters in the description box to put everything in there. So let's get started. So let's understand a little bit how abundant, how wealthy people will be under the rulership of Imam Mahdi, peace and blessings be upon him. So this is narrated from Abu Sa'eed Al-Khudri, that the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The Mahdi will be among my nation. If he lives for a short period, it will be 7 years. If he lives for a long period, it will be 9 years of his rulership, during which my nation will enjoy a time of ease, such as it has never enjoyed before. The land will bring forth its yields and will not hold back anything, and the wealth at that time will be piled up. A man will stand up and say, 'O Mahdi, give me,' and he will say, 'Take.'" So Imam Mahdi will be very giving. He'll be giving like a universal basic income from a hadith that we'll get into very shortly. There'll be so much wealth that they'll be piling up gold and silver. So it'll be a very abundant time. The people will not have need for charity, as we'll get into this next narration here by Abu Musa. "And thy prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the time will come upon the people that when a person will wander about with gold as Zakat, which is compulsory charity, and will not find anybody to accept it." So there's going to be such an abundance of wealth that people will have gold to give as charity, but everybody will be so well taken care of that nobody will accept it. "And then one man will be seen followed by 40 women to their guardian because of scarcity of men and a great number of women." So there'll be a particular man that will be followed by 40 women. And this, according to the scholars, and it seems to be accurate to me, that it'll be due to all the some of the wars that will occur at the beginning and at the end of the rule of Imam Mahdi, peace and blessings be upon him. Imam Mahdi will have to deal with the Sufyani at the beginning, and then we'll have to deal at the end of his rule, Armageddon, and we'll have to deal with the Antichrist, the Dajjal, as well as his army. So there will be a lack of men at that time, but there will be no lack of abundance of wealth. Next hadith here, narrated by Imam al-Bukhari. He said, when the riser of my al-Bayt rises up, he will distribute the public treasury to the people evenly and will behave justly with them. So this is just another narration, gives you a little bit more detail that there'll be some sort of universal basic income at that time, and justice will prevail throughout the world due to implementing Allah's, the unique creator of all that exists, divine laws and commandments, which are the most just and most in harmony with all things. In another hadith here, the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, said, among the signs of the advent of al-Mahdi are the following: the assets and wealth will flow like a flood among the people, knowledge and learning will become manifest, and commerce will expand and flourish. So this is during his rise. He's not actually in rulership. So this will be signs that assets and wealth will flow like a flood among the people, knowledge and learning will expand, and commerce will flourish and expand as well. So the blessings that the world has and the nations around the world will have access to the blessings of Imam Mahdi. Peace and blessings be upon them. So those are some hadiths that Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, our beloved Prophet, mentioned about Imam Mahdi, and how amazing and beautiful it will be in that time of Imam Mahdi. It will be a time that his ummah has never experienced before. It will be a great enjoyment. It will be higher vibrational life. It'll be more harmonious and balanced, abundant in all sorts of areas. So it's very important for us to understand these divine laws of charity, and I have some Qur'an verses here, so I'm just going to go ahead and list them off to help us understand the importance of charity, how this purifies our soul by giving charity, and also helps us understand the beauty of giving charity and the importance of it, and how it's a commandment of the unique creator of all that exists. And to understand these on a deeper level will help us prepare for the coming of Imam Mahdi, as well as the second coming of Jesus, peace and blessings be upon them, also known as the Mashiachs. So this will be in the I'll probably put these Quran verses in the comment section below for you to see or follow along with me. So I'm just going to read them off. I'm not going to list the chapter and verse numbers. If you want to follow along or check out the source for yourself, like I said, it will be in the comment section, and the hadith of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, our beloved Prophet, will be in the description box. So spend in the cause of Allah, and Allah loves the doers of good to others. And spend in the cause of Allah, and do not cast yourself into ruin with your own hands, and do good to others, and verily Allah loves the doers of good to others. Spend your surplus wealth on parents, near of kin, the orphans, the needy, and the wayfarers. They question you as to what they should spend to seek the pleasure of Allah. Say, whatever of good and abundant wealth you spend should be for the parents, the near of kin, the orphans and the needy, and the wayfarer. And whatever good you do, surely Allah knows it fully well. Set the affairs of the orphans upright in promotion of their welfare, upon this world and the hereafter. And they ask you concerning the orphans, say, to set their affairs right, keeping in view the promotion of their welfare, is an act of great virtue, and if you intermix with them, they are after all your brethren. And Allah knows the wrongdoers from the right doers, and if Allah had so willed, He would certainly have made matters difficult for you. Verily, Allah is Almighty, All-Wise. Do not render your charities void by show of obligation and injury. O you who believe, do not render void your charities by a show of obligation and injury, like him who spends his wealth to be seen by people, and does not believe in Allah and the last day. So his case is like the case of a smooth rock with some soil thereon. When heavy rain hits it, it leaves it bare and hard. They shall not be able to gain anything of what they have accomplished. And Allah does not guide such disbelieving people to the way of success. Charity spent seeking the good pleasure of Allah is like a garden situated on a highly fertile land. But the case of charity on the part of those who spend their wealth seeking the good pleasure of Allah, and for their own consolidation and with firm faith, it is the case of a garden situated on a highly fertile land. It is hit by heavy rain, so it yields its fruit manifold. But even if heavy rain does not hit it, then a mere drizzle is sufficient for it, and Allah sees well what you do. Believers, spend the good and pure things in the cause of Allah, and not the bad and inferior things. O you who believe, spend for the cause of Allah a portion of good and pure things that you have yourselves earned out of that which we have produced for you from the earth. Do not intend upon spending the bad and inferior. You should spend the bad and inferior for the cause of Allah. Would you spend that bad and inferior for the cause of Allah, which you should not accept at all for your own selves, unless you connive at it, and know that Allah is self-sufficient, ever praiseworthy. Satan threatens you with poverty, and Allah promises you forgiveness from himself and affluence. Satan threatens you with poverty, and incites you to be stingy. But Allah promises you forgiveness from himself and affluence, and Allah is bountiful, all-knowing. Giving charity is good, but if you give them secret and give them to the needy, it is better for your own selves. If you give your alms openly, it is well and good in itself. But if you give them secret and give them to the needy, it is better for your own selves, and He will thereby acquit you of some of your evil deeds. Allah is fully aware of what you do. Whatever wealth you spend in doing good will be fully credited to you. You are not responsible for their guidance to the right path, but Allah guides him who wishes to be guided. Believers, whatever wealth you spend for the cause of Allah, it is for your own good. For you do not spend it because to seek the good pleasure of Allah. And whether wealth you spend in doing good will be fully credited to you, and you shall not be treated unjustly. Charity for the needy, unable to provide sustenance for themselves and those who abstain from begging. These charities are meant for the needy who are so confined in the way of Allah that they are unable to move about in the land for providing their sustenance. The person ignorant of their condition thinks them free from want because of their abstaining from begging, but you shall know them by their appearance that they are in need. They do not beg of people with importunity, and whatever good thing you spend for their help, Allah knows it surely well. There will be corruption in the land if you, O Muslims, do not help one another. And as for those who disbelieve, they are friends one to another. Hence, if you, O Muslims, do not act as has been ordained for you to help one another, there will be persecution and great corruption in the land. Appropriating the belongings of people turns them away from the path of Allah. O you who believe, many of the learned men of the Jews and the Christians, monks, wrongfully appropriate the belongings of the people, and turn the people away and themselves forsake the path of Allah. Give the news of a woeful punishment to them, and to those who treasure gold and silver and do not spend in the cause of Allah. Compulsory charities. Compulsory charities, the Zakat, are meant for the destitute and the needy, and for its functionaries, and for those whose hearts require to be consoled in all sincerity, and for the emancipation of the slaves, and for the relief of those in debt, and for spending in the cause of Allah, and for the wayfarer. This is an obligation imposed by Allah, for Allah is all-knowing and all-wise. Prophet, Take a portion of their possessions as compulsory charity to purify them of their evils. Prophet. Take a portion of their possessions as zakat, compulsory charities, so that you may thereby purify them of their evils, and enhance them in their virtuous deeds, and pray for them. Your prayer is indeed a source of solace for them, and Allah is all-hearing and all-knowing. Those who have virtue and riches give in compulsory charities, and forgive and forbear their offenses. And let not those of you who are possessed of grace with moral virtue and plenty of riches, like Abu Bakr, where that they will give nothing to the kindred, the needy, and those who left their homes for the cause of Allah, but let them forgive and forbear the offense. Do you not desire that Allah should protect you against your faults? And Allah is great protector, ever merciful. Observe prayer and compulsory charities, and obey the messenger to be shown mercy. The believers observe the prayer, keep on presenting the zakat, the compulsory charities, the purifying dues, and obey the messenger that you may be shown mercy. Seek the pleasure of Allah by giving to the near of kin his due, and to the needy and to the wayfarer to attain the goal. So present to the near of kin his due, and to the needy and the wayfarer. This is best for those who seek the pleasure of Allah. It is they alone who will attain the goal. Whatever you spend in some noble cause, He exceeds it in giving reward. Say, surely my Lord multiplies the means of livelihood for such of His servants as He will, and makes them scant for him whom He pleases. And whatever you spend in some noble cause, He exceeds it in giving reward. So as to leave it behind, He is the best of providers. A bargain that will never fail. Surely only those who follow the book of Allah and observe prayer, and spend for the cause of Allah privately and in public out of that of which we have provided for them, thereby hope to do a bargain which will never fail. The result of it, that He will give them their full reward for their righteous deeds, and even increase them out of His mercy and bounty. Verily, He is the great protector, most appreciating of their rights, endeavors, and multiplier of reward. Hypocrites, your stinginess will bring to surface your malice. Hypocrites, the present life is only idle sport, and make you ignore and forgetful of your duties towards God. If you believe and guard against evil, He will give you your reward, and will not ask you of your wealth to compensate it from you, but He wishes to repay your efforts you make with your wealth. Should He ask you of it, your wealth, and press you for it, you would show stinginess, and this stinginess will bring to the surface your malice and hatred towards divine faith. So there's a lot of people who are, just want to take a little break here at this point. There's a lot of people in our world and government and people in general that are very stingy, that don't want to give. And this shows their malice towards the divine faith, that they don't want to give charity. They want to hoard as much wealth as they can for any possible problems they may occur in the future. There's billionaires out there, maybe even close to trillionaires out there. That seems to me that they could feed a lot of people, house a lot of people, give a lot in compulsory charity to the needy people. That they just hoard it to gain further control and power. So illustrates people's malice towards the divine faith. And the governments of the world should definitely give more to the people. Even prisoners are housed and fed, but in a lot of the countries in the world, the governments don't really help their people that much, and they should be more caring of them, provide basic needs to the people, that that you're not forced to go to either you have to go to work, or you can't survive, you'll die. So we don't want to live in a society like that, that we take care of the needy people and give them the proper health, proper wealth to provide for themselves and their families properly. Whoever is stingy only against his own self. Behold, you are those who are called upon to spend in the cause of Allah. Yet some of you are stingy. Remember that whoever is stingy only against his own self. Otherwise, Allah is self-sufficient, having no needs, and it is you who are the needy ones. And if you turn back from the truth, He will replace you with another people, and they will not behave like you. In their wealth was a rightful share to those who asked for help or could not. And in their wealth and belongings was a rightful share for those who asked for help and for those who could not. Spend in the cause of Allah out of the possessions He has entrusted you with as His vicegerent. O people, believe in Allah and His Messenger and spend in the cause of Allah out of the possessions He has entrusted you with as His vicegerent. Indeed, there awaits a great reward for such of you as believe and spend in His cause. Allah will repay those many times over who give in the cause of Allah. Who is he that will separate a handsome portion of his possessions to give in the cause of Allah? Let him remember, He will increase it manifold to repay it to him many times over. Indeed, there awaits such a one a generous and honorable reward. Verily, as to the men who give alms and the women who give alms, and those who perform excellent deeds for the sake of Allah, their recompense shall be increased manifold for them, and there awaits them a generous and honorable reward. Allah has no love for those who practice stinginess themselves and enjoin others to be stingy. Neither has He love for those who practice stinginess themselves and also enjoin others to be stingy. He who turns his back upon His commandments should beware. Verily, Allah is self-sufficient, free from all needs, and worthy of all praise in His own right. Believers, when you want to consult the Messenger in private, then advance a charity for the needy before your consultations. O you who believe, when you want to consult the Messenger in private, then advance a charity for the needy before such consultations. This is best for you, and will help you to better standards of purity. But if you cannot afford it, then never mind. Remember that Allah is great protector, ever merciful. Do you fear that you will not be able to give charity before your consultation? So when you do it not, and Allah has turned to you mercifully, observe prayer and present the zakat, and obey Allah and His Messenger, and Allah is well aware of what you do. A bargain that will save you from a woeful punishment. O you who believe, shall I direct you to a bargain that will save you from a woeful punishment? The bargain is that keep your faith in Allah and His Messenger and keep on striving hard in His cause of Allah with your possessions and your persons. That would be best for you if you would only realize. Spend out of that which we have provided for you. Spend out of that which we have provided you before death visits one of you. And spend out of that which we have provided you before death visits one of you, and he says, My Lord, with that you have granted me reprieve for a short while, for if you had, I would have given alms and would have become the righteous. And Allah does not grant reprieve to a soul when its appointed time is come, and Allah is well aware of what you do. So very important to give charity before we pass away from this world and move on to the hereafter, so we're not bankrupt in the hereafter. Allah is pleased with those who spends his wealth seeking to purify himself. A person who spends his wealth seeking to purify himself, and not because he is under any obligation to anyone which obligation has to be repaid, but he spends only to seek the pleasure of his Lord the Most High, surely he will be well pleased with such a one. Do not allow the orphan to be an oppressed person. Therefore, as to the orphan, do not allow him to be an oppressed person. The person who seeks your assistance, do not chide him away. And as for the person who seeks your assistance, do not chide him away. Then, as to the blessings and favors of your Lord, keep on proclaiming your gratitude. Disaster is decreed for every slanderer, defamer, who amasses wealth instead of spending it for the good of humanity. Disaster is decreed for every slanderer and defamer, who amasses wealth instead of spending it for the good of humanity, counts it over and over, and depends upon it as a safeguard against his future possible hardships. He thinks that his wealth will make him immortal. No, never. He shall surely be cast into a crushing torment of hell. So very important for us to give charity. God gives us a lot of incentives to give charity, but Allah really enjoys that we just give charity to please God. That's, I feel like, the highest level of giving charity, that you don't do it for yourself, you don't do it for the rewards that you're going to get for it, but you just do it to please the unique creator of all that exists, as it is very pleasing to God. So there's also lots of great incentives to give charity, especially in the cause of God, to the needy people. If you give to your own family, it's sort of a double charity, that you're giving, say, to your near close family members some charity. You're also bringing in the ties of your family closer together while giving charity, so it's kind of a double bonus for rewards. If you're given the cause of Allah and Zakat and compulsory charities, Allah will increase that manifoldly, so it will multiply your wealth. As we'll see in the time of Imam Mahdi, peace and blessings be upon him, that the wealth will be piled up upon each other because of all the blessings that Allah will bestow upon that nation of Muhammad. Peace and blessings be upon him in that time. All those blessings will just, the wealth will just be overflowing. So there's lots of incentives. Also, you don't want to be the ones that's been clinging onto your wealth for any future hardships, amassing a great amount of wealth that could be used to helping needy people at this time. So it's a test from Allah, the unique creator of all that exists, so you can be severely punished in the hereafter for hoarding wealth and not helping humanity. While humanity, there's hungry people out there. There's especially with all the shutdowns of work and businesses and stuff like that. So it's very important that the governments of the world give to the needy people, have some sort of basic universal income. This will generate blessings from the unique creator of all that exists and help expand the wealth of the nations of the world, if they would only realize. Obviously, they have to get off the fiat currency as well, but it is a great start to start giving charity now. That will make things smoother in the future, inshallah. Only we'll receive blessings for that, but obviously we'll have to move away from the fiat paper currency, obviously, because that is so manipulated. They can print trillions of dollars by a click of a button. So we have to go back to God's money, which is gold and silver, which will happen in the time of Imam Mahdi, probably before the time of Imam Mahdi, it seems, but we don't know for sure. But like I said, to prepare for the coming of Imam Mahdi, as well as the second coming of Jesus, peace and blessings be upon him, is to have some gold and silver in your possession. Give charity, learn the laws and commandments of the Most High God. We explain them here in this channel, alhamdulillah. So if you want to subscribe and like, inshallah, please do so. And I try to make a video every week around the Jummah time to help the believers of the world and those who care to listen to expand their light and perfect their character and knowledge, and live a more bountiful and harmonious and beautiful life, not only in this world but in the hereafter, inshallah. Stay tuned to these videos. I'll be coming out with more laws and commandments of the Most High and how it relates to the coming and preparation of Imam Mahdi, as well as the second coming of Jesus, peace and blessings be upon him, also known as the Mashiachs. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you take Allah as your shield. I urge and recommend that you give charity from your surplus to the needy people, if you can, within your family as well, as that is a double bonus for rewards and pleasure of Allah, the unique creator of all that exists. So Stay tuned for the next video, inshallah, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be with you. Take care. Peace.